Most sales leaders ask, how do I get my team to perform? The best sales leaders ask, how do I build a team that will run through a brick wall for me? There's a massive difference. One is management, one is cult-like loyalty. My name's Zac Dingee. I run a solar sales company that does over $50 million a year in sales. And I've built an 80-person sales team across New York State over the last 7-ish years or so. And I think the thing that we do best as our management structure is we have followership. Followership is, will someone run through a wall essentially for you? Will they go above and beyond? Do they want to follow you? If solar went down the next day and I started doing HVAC full-time, would the majority of that team come over with me? You want the team to want to work with you and for you, rather than they want to sell this product for the company and that's what they want to do. That's kind of what I'm going to go through today. I have 7 pillars for how to build a cult-like sales team. I have 7 pillars for how to build a cult-like sales team. And these are all the things I've done throughout my 8 years that I've learned, sometimes the hard way, but these are all the things I've learned. So number 1, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so how do you do that? How do you operationalize actually showing you care? Well, first, I think this one goes without saying, but you actually kind of do have to care, at least somewhat. You have to be genuine about your team and want to help these people. But some of the things that I really, really look for, 1, I know these sound simple, but trust me, they make a huge difference. The example I'll give you is like when I meet someone for the first time and I get their name, I want to use their name when I'm talking back and forth with them because their name is the most important word in the English dictionary to them. So the example I have for sales is you want to remember the personal stuff. What is this person's wife's name? How old are their kids? Where did they grow up? And I want to know basic information about every person on my sales team. If you ask me about anybody on my 80-person sales team, I can tell you who their spouse is, how many kids they have, how old their kids are, and maybe even a couple other personal items like their birthday or some other things. So knowing and remembering personal stuff is huge. Number 2, taking people one-on-one to lunch or dinners. Again, not maybe, some people are like, well, I don't want to waste my time. Why don't I just bring everyone out to dinner and we can have a whole team event? That's fine too. I agree, you have to do that. But also that one-on-one where I'll take a rep to lunch. Usually every single week I take at least one person to lunch. And I literally at the beginning of lunch say, listen, I don't want to talk anything about solar. We're not even allowed to mention the word solar. We're only going to talk about our lives. Boom. Now I have a conversation about their life with them. The third thing of this pillar is I want to celebrate the wins with them, not just the losses. So when they are having huge months or they have a great week in sales or they're being successful, I'll make sure I shoot them a text or I give them a call and let them know, dude, you're crushing it right now. Great job. And then same thing too in the losses as well. When they're going down, you don't always have to beat them down. You want to raise them back up. So that's number 1 though, is people want to know how much you care. And until they know how much you care, they don't care how much you know. The second pillar is pay like you mean it. That means your compensation plan should be at the higher end. Now I know some people are going to make, well, I can't in this business and I'm in accounting and I can't pay people a lot. I understand. However, you should pay people the absolute most that you possibly can because that is the way to get the best talent. When you pay high, you can set the bar high. And so there's a stat that I found, which is 51% of salespeople would leave their job for a higher pay, meaning 1 out of every 2 salespeople, 50% of all of them, are only there because of their pay. And so if they found something with a higher pay, they would leave. If you do both of these things that we're talking about in this video today, which is you actually show people you care and you build that cult-like following, and then you pay them, people will never leave you. I've been building a sales team for 8 years now, and we have teams all across New York State. I've never lost a rep to another company. Have reps quit? Of course. Have I had reps fail? Of course. Have we have a churn rate? Yes. But I've never had a rep who's been here for 2 years or 3 years or 5 years come to me and say, Zac, I'm going to this other company to sell solar for them. Never in 8 years has that happened to me. You should design compensation plans with no ceiling. If you can, I believe the majority of sales positions are better 1099 than they are W-2s. In almost every industry across the board, having that 1099 sales position where you can pay people unlimited amounts is fantastic. But if you can't do that, then you should have big bonuses or big tiers for people to hit so they can really, really chase. A lot of people think that, oh, let's say the average commission is $2,000 per deal. They're going to work hard because they know if they sell 10 deals, they can make 20 grand. Unfortunately, that's not how the human psychology works. If I pay you $1,000 for the first 5 deals, $2,000 for deals 6 through 10, and then anything above 10, I pay you $3,000 for, it's magical how many people will get to 11 sales compared to they used to average 7. Because there's that third tier and people have to hit it. They feel like it is a mandatory thing. And so pay big, pay like you mean it, and that'll create a huge following. Arguably the most important I put here at number 3 is servant leadership. I say all the time, I work for you, you don't work for me. And so that's why I go above and beyond for my reps, because I feel like I want to do so much for them that they never ever want to leave and that they know how much I care. I want to produce results for my team. When I look at my calendar, my day, what I'm doing, even this content, all I'm always thinking is how can I help my team? How can I help my team sell more deals? How can I go and do this for this guy or this for this guy? Whenever things are going good, I always want to give the recognition away to other people. So if we're crushing it in sales, I'll give the appreciation to sales reps or to sales managers or to someone else on the team. Whenever we're doing bad, I take accountability for doing bad. So I always want to give recognition when we're doing good and take the blame when we're doing bad, because that is what leaders are supposed to do. You're supposed to eat last. That's how this works. The best ability is availability. And so I have certain days like today where I'm shooting content and I'm not available. But the rest of the week, I'm very, very available for my reps and for my managers, because that makes them want to continue to do their job. If you, as the head of the company or the head of the sales organization, don't take the time out to have conversations with your reps, they will no longer want to work for you, essentially. Number 4, consistent appreciation. This one kind of doubled up on like a couple of these other topics. They go hand in hand. Human beings are emotional creatures and they just need constant attention. That is why marriage is so hard, because you got to give somebody constant attention for their whole life. And so there's multiple different ways to do this. There's one-on-one appreciation, text, phone calls, lunches. There's also one in front of many. So you could be at a conference or a meeting, and you can be giving recognition to this person or giving an award to this person. Then the last one is also backdoor compliment. When I call a backdoor compliment is I tell someone else about how good this person is at X. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say this guy Anthony is really, really good at following up with his customers. I will go tell John, hey, Anthony is so good at following up with his customers. You should call Anthony and ask him how he does it. Now John calls Anthony, and Anthony hears that I was talking great about him, is the best thing you can do to get someone to trust you, because they found out you were talking good about them behind their back. You weren't in the room. You weren't doing it for any recognition. You weren't doing it to make them feel good. You were doing it solely because that's what you believe. And that is the best compliment you can give somebody. So make sure you're always giving a backdoor compliment, because it makes people really know how much you care. You can give recognition to someone working hard. I sound like a broken record at all of my meetings because I say great job to so many people so often. I want to give everybody recognition and make sure they know that I'm going to give them their flowers. And that makes them want to go out and work harder. Pillar number 5 is create an identity and belonging. And so how do you create identity to the sales team? You have to have some kind of mission. You have to have some kind of thing that we're trying to accomplish. Like I say all the time, we're a personal development company with a compensation plan attached. Our mission, our vision, our goal, our day-to-day is not about making the most money. It's about becoming the best version of ourselves. And so I really, really push that. And people are attracted to that kind of a vision and that kind of a wording, because that's what they want. They want to be better every day. They want to wake up and get better. I don't punish people when they want to go on vacation or take trips or do things. I'm like, that's fantastic. Go live your life as well. As long as you're working hard, I want you to go do things for yourself. Same with if they have kids and they have to take them to basketball games or baseball games or take them to dance class. We don't punish you for doing that. We want you to do that. The goal of what we do at our company is we want to make your life very fruitful in all the things. I don't want someone to just make a lot of money. and have a horrible home life and not be able to see their kids because they work so much. I want you to make a lot of money and have a great home life and be able to see your kids and have a great relationship with your wife. So our big thing for identity is that we are a personal development company. We are not just a team that makes a lot of money. And then the other thing too, on this point, is that you have to be careful with, you're dealing with humans and you might have a 20-person sales team. Odds are, if you have a 20-person sales team, there's 1 or 2 people in there that probably don't like another 1 or 2 people. And so how do you handle that? You have to get people to understand, hey, we are part of a bigger mission and team and picture. Yeah, this guy may sometimes be annoying and a pain in the neck, but that doesn't mean that you get to hate him or not talk to him. Everyone on this team is on the same mission and works for the same company. We're all gonna be at least acquaintances. I'm not saying you gotta take this guy out to lunch and go have beers with him after work, but when you're in this office or when you're knocking with someone or helping someone, you're gonna be respectful to everyone. And so you have to hold that line very, very strong, because once that falls, the whole domino can happen. So create identity and belonging, huge, huge, huge. This goes in hand with the last one. Pillar number 6 is invest in their growth. You can do this in many, many different ways. This can be simply one-on-one coaching sessions where you're just with this person every day and you're going one-on-one and you're having, 90-minute game planning sessions or strategy sessions or training them. That most people do, and I don't feel like we need to go into that too much with role playing or script refinement. But 2 years ago, I paid for 50 people to come to the Volt conference with me. I brought out 50 people, almost my entire sales team. We had the 3rd most people at the Volt conference. Why did I do that? Because I'm trying to show these people, hey, I don't just care that you sell solar and make me money. I actually care about you. I want you to come and get better. What happens if I train people and invest in their growth and then they leave me? And he said, what happens if you don't train people and don't invest in their growth and they stay? And that's how you have to think about it. There's an abundance mindset to all of this. If you have a scarcity mindset, business is not for you. And so if you invest in people and their growth, 9 times out of 10, they're probably not gonna wanna leave you. And the people that do, it's okay. You will probably have a business relationship with them forever, even if they become your competitor. One of my best friends ended up leaving the company, going to start another solar company, and we're still best friends. It's okay. You have to have an abundance mindset. And so you should invest in people's growth and leadership. And you can do that in many different ways. But something that's easy to do is bring people to events, have people come out with you I obviously went to the Volt conferences, but there are way cheaper things you could do. A lot of these events too, they'll sell bulk tickets. But every time we go to these leadership events or I go anywhere, I always bring someone with me. I never go alone, whether I'm bringing just my management team or sometimes I'm bringing the entire sales team. But I don't want to be the only person in the room for my company. And last thing, pillar number 7, is build a culture of winning. How do you do that? Easier said than done for sure. Number 1 is energy is contagious, and unfortunately heavy is the head that wears the crown. If you are the leader, if you are the number 1 in the company, that means you have to bring the energy. You can't come in tired half the time or not energized. You have to be willing to make a fool out of yourself sometimes, try new things, have fun, and be the energy in the room until other people can start to take that over. But standards, you have to have high standards and you have to stick to them. I have struggled with this before because it's hard sometimes to hold people to standards and you feel like you're constantly beating them down. And eventually, you know what I've learned? You just have to let people go sometimes. I think the best way to keep a culture of winning is to just let people go that are not winners. The easiest way to build a team of winners is to find people who are really, really good at this job, pay them really, really good, show them how much you care so they keep winning, and then the people that aren't in that bracket just cut loose. But so many people, including myself, just don't cut the bottom people loose. At the end of every single year, we look and we get rid of 1 to 10 reps, depending on where we are in the company and structure and all that, because we keep getting rid of the bottom 10%. Those people are not going to grow your company. They are typically a huge time waste. You've probably heard of the 80-20 rule. 20% of the sales team will make up 80% of the sales. And 20% of the sales team will make up 80% of your headaches. And usually the top 20% of people do 80% of the sales. The bottom 20% cause 80% of the headaches. And so get rid of those bottom people. That allows you to have a higher average. Something that we work on a lot now is our average sale per rep. I would rather have an average sale per rep of 5 or 6 with only, let's say, 10 salespeople, so we're doing 50 a month, compared to a sales team of 20 people doing 70 sales a month, but now the average sale per rep is 3 or 4, because now I have to manage double the people for only a 20% more growth. And so this is something that I strongly, strongly believe in, because I've learned the hard way on this so many times. And to build a winning culture, it's mostly addition by subtraction. It's that simple. Just get rid of people that aren't good for this job and keep the people that are. Simple. 70% of team engagement is explained by the manager alone, meaning if your team is going to be engaged, it's because they like the leader. If they don't like the leader, then they will not be engaged. So you, as the head of the company, you need to be a leader, and you need to bring the energy, and you need to hold these standards and get people excited to want to work with you. 30% of salespeople cite trust in leadership as the number one culture motivator. Meaning, something that I actually probably should have put in here is moral authority. Are you trustworthy? Do people want to work for you? Are you really good at sales, but then on the weekends you go out and drink and you cheat on your spouse, or you do stupid things, or you do drugs, and people are like, oh, this guy's not who he says he is? That blows all of this out of the water, actually. That blows. If you just do that, you can do all these other 7 points and your sales team still probably won't grow, because people don't trust you, and they have to trust you. And it is very, very simple. You have to have moral authority, and that's not easy though. It is easy to slip up or to do wrong and to make mistakes. And so be very, very careful of that. Last stat is 87% reduction in turnover for organizations investing in engagement programs. Meaning you have an 87% less chance of somebody leaving you if you invest in their growth. So investing in their growth is basically guaranteeing that they're not going to leave you, because you've made them better and they don't want to leave you. And so, again, I think a lot of people are scared to invest in their reps or their employees because they feel like it's not going to pay out. It always pays out. Always pays out. And so you should invest in your salespeople all the time, consistently. I think the difficult part that some people struggle with is investing in the right things and making sure they're not blowing their money, wasting time, or wasting money on events. And so be cautious with that. But other than that, obviously, the more you invest in people, the better. So listen, I've been doing this for a long time now, for 8 years. I started when I was 19, I'm 27. And when I first started out, I know what it's like to be a sales rep, because at 19, I started as a sales rep. I was not the president of sales at the time. I went from sales rep to sales manager to regional sales manager to director to president. Meaning I hit every single point, and I know what it's like to be in every single point. I know what it's like to be a regional manager. That's why I can help a regional manager so well. I know what it's like to be a district manager, so I know how to help them. I know what it's like to be a sales rep, so I know how to be in their shoes as well. And that's helped me tremendously. But I think overall, even if you haven't gone through all of those steps in the chain to get to where you are, maybe you started out as a CEO and that's still what you are, or you were hired as an outsourced, you were headhunted and came into a roofing sales organization and now you're the head of the sales. You don't necessarily have to have been in their shoes, but you have to know how to be in other people's shoes. You have to know how to be empathetic and realize, okay, if I was this person, what would I want? And that's how I reverse psychology the majority of my days and what I do. Is if I were a sales rep, what would I want the president of sales to be doing for me? How can this person help me? What can I do every day, every week, every month? What can I advocate for to make the sales team better? And so that's how we got to this point where we have 80 people across New York State. We have 4 different offices. People do not leave us. We're the highest paying solar company in New York State. And we have a culture second to none. My friends work here. My father works here. I have relationships. We just went and took a trip to Costa Rica with the sales team. We have all of us plus spouses in one Airbnb together, all hanging out. Not a single problem happens. We have people from ages of 18 all the way up to 45. And everyone, actually, Ben, we have people ages from 18 all the way up to like 65. So we have a total mix of group of people, and everyone gets along because we all respect each other and love working together. And it's phenomenal. It's the best thing you can do in the world. The best thing you can do is build your company so that you enjoy the journey with your team. The majority of the time in your life is going to be spent most likely working, especially if you're an entrepreneur or a hustler. And so that by proxy means that the majority of your time will be spent with people that work in your company. So if you don't like the people, you're probably not going to like what you do. I think a lot of people not liking their job comes from not liking the people they work with. And so if you build the right sales team with the right culture, you'll love the people you work with. And to finalize this whole thing, the best sales teams aren't built, they are earned. And it takes a level of earning every single day. Still to this day, I have to show up and do all the things that I talked about in this video to continue to have the followership of my sales team. If not, your sales team will no longer want to follow you. And it's crazy how fast it can happen when you stop showing up and doing these things. So if you're watching this video and you're still here, type down below, comment down below of what opportunity is the biggest for you. Which of these 7 do you feel like you lack the most and that you could do a better job at that'll help your sales team? And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.